It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Montessori, I'm going to spell it wrong. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition. Power to the people. Got a lot going on. I rode my bike yesterday. Now, riding your bike, and not the motorcycle, although if anybody out there knows of anybody selling a spider, please let me know. Because I do ride motorcycles, but I haven't had one in years. And I want a bike. I don't want a new one, because I usually only keep them a year or two. And then everybody convinces me to get rid of them, or I decide, I'm done with that. So I am looking, and this is the truth, I am looking for a spider. If you don't know what a spider is, it is a motorcycle that has two wheels in the front and one in the back. I don't want a trike. I don't want to, like the two wheels in the back.
Right.
That's a tricycle.
Right.
I don't want that. I've had a tricycle. I broke my arm on a tricycle. The only time I've ever had a broken limb is me riding a tricycle and flipped off. I don't know what I was doing or what stunt I was doing. Flew off of the bike, and bike landed on my arm, and I was in a cast.
We were talking about as a kid, though.
As a kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as a kid.
I just wanted to clarify.
So I don't want a trike. I want a spider. So if anybody out there knows of somebody selling a spider, call me. If I had my preference, I have a white spider. I like white.
Really?
Yeah, a white spider, yes. But I rode my bike yesterday, my bicycle, and, it's supposed to be healthy. And my legs are on fire. I really should have took a Tylenol before I got on the air, but all medicine makes me sleepy. All medicine makes me sleepy. So I know I still have things to do today, so I'm like, I better not take this Tylenol because I'm going to be tired. So I'm looking for that. I'm also looking for somebody who knows how to redo eaves on the house, because it's bat season again. Anybody knows my story with bats. And hey, Janique, my story with bats and a bat in my house. Well, I think we got another one.
Oh, no.
My son went in the crawl space to get something out. He's like, I thought I saw something. Now, he's not 100% reliable. It could have been a butterfly for all I know.
A big moth.
But I do know some of my eaves. I can see from my attic out to the sun.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's a problem.
that is.
But of course, you got to have a tall ladder, and you got to know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And while they're up there, I want them to paint the eaves. So you can call. You can throw it up here on social media. I don't have my Facebook open because I think I tried to log in. I got logged out and logged in and used the old password, and now it's asking me for two-step authentication, and I just didn't feel like being bothered. So, so if you know, don't inbox me on Facebook. I don't use that messenger thing. And I looked at it the other day, and people were trying to contact me for funerals and everything else on Facebook.
No.
Don't do it. I'm 57 years old. I don't live by Facebook. I live by offices. You can call either office, call church, if you want to recommend a company, or if you have a company and you do eaves, and while you're up there, may as well paint them while you're up there. So that's what I am looking for, some Buffalo company, some inner city company to get some work done. Please let me know. The last thing, listen, we tried all last summer to find a city-based business, grass-cutting business, to not even cut the lots in Ellicott, but to sometime maybe to cut it,
Right.
but really to follow up after the city cuts it and to go back out, make sure it's done well, clean up the sidewalk, because that's what the complaints we got
Right.
last year. 3 companies called me, and every time we called, nobody came through. Folks, you should please don't complain about not getting business. If I'm trying to give you business, and I did it every way that I could to say to people, I'm looking for a city-based business, preferably inner city.
Right.
It's grass cutting, and you're not even you're going out to a lot that's already been cut, and that we get a complaint about that is, it's not well, you might not edge it, but it needs to look neat, and it
Right.
needs to look clean and elegant. So that's important. That we need your help. So make sure those companies contact us at 851-4980, 851-4980. If you're calling and you got a company you want to do the eaves, don't call me at City Hall. Here's another number. Call the church, 895-8222, 895-8222. I need to get these eaves up, man. I can't deal with another bat. I'm gonna lose it if another bat is in my house.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start paying Papa Earl to come through and get these bats.
I'm gonna have to pay him next time. So while I'm on council stuff, and I say that because I was talking about the yards, the grass cutting. Couple things going on. I put in a resolution. Everybody knows who's paying attention about Ukraine and Russia. And I put in a resolution basically standing by Ukraine, but also asking the administration to sever our ties for now with what is called our sister city in Russia. We have several sister cities. You send delegations. They will send a delegation to Buffalo, see how we do government and about our city, da-da-da. We also have the opportunity to go there and da-da-da. Some may say that's symbolic, but there's a lot of things we do symbolically, but I think it's beyond symbolism. It is sending a clear message that those of us who stand by Ukraine, of course, as a veteran, I'm very concerned, and I think I don't think you have to be a veteran, but it just hits a little different when you have been in the military during a conflict, as they call it. So we're doing that. That should be before the council on Tuesday. We have invited Ukrainian officials, not Ukrainian officials, Ukrainian citizens who now are new Americans to be in our council meeting on Tuesday to show our support for them, and also hopefully if I can pick up this flag to present to them. And I think I'm just going to hang the Ukrainian flag for a while in my office or somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess I really could in chambers as long as it is in the right position. So that's there. Also, I don't know if people know, if you know of somebody who lost their house to the city auction, a lot of people don't realize this. Let me give you a little quick lesson. If you owed, and I'm only making up numbers, if you owed the city $10,000 in taxes and your house was auctioned, and the city sold it for $70,000, that means there is a $60,000 takeaway fees and a few other things. $60,000 that belongs back to the homeowner.
Right.
There is so much unclaimed money. If you know of someone who has passed in the last 5 years, or their house was sold in the last 5 years, there is a list if you go on the city's website, but I want to tell you the list is incomplete. The list is only for the last, when I say in-rim auction, that means the housing auction. So I'll just say the last housing auction, that's the only one that's online right now. So if you're not sure, you need to call the city, and I would imagine you call Department of Taxation.
You call the law department.
Law department. So taxation doesn't have it. Law
No.
department. So you call the law department, and you give the address and the owner's name, and they should be able to. And I'm telling you what I'm pushing for right now. I'm pushing that all of the available money be online, so that you don't have. I don't think you should have to call law. I think you should be able to go right online, like you do for the state. And if the basically is 5 years, 5 years of back, you should be able to go and look at 5 years back. And that's what I'm really pushing the law department to do. And hopefully, and I don't know if you know this, we do have a new corporation counsel, which is the lawyer for the city, Ms. Cavett Chambers, who was installed recently, not installed, sworn in recently and confirmed by the Common Council. So call law if you know of anyone who has lost their house, because more than likely, I'd say percentage-wise, there has not been a property that's been sold at the city auction for less than what the taxes are. I promise you. These houses are going for crazy money at crazy times. So please, this is important. So we're working on well, we have already submitted a resolution to look at that whole process of the what's called surplus funds, and how those funds, what the city is doing to find people. But I truly believe if we just not just, but at least start by putting names, because what's happened is that there are people who have passed on and their family doesn't know that the house was sold at auction for a profit, basically. And I'll tell you this story. I think I told it before. I don't know whether I told it here on the show. Councilmember Joel Fairletto had a house in his district that was sold at auction. The city attempted to find the owner who lost it, sent letters, but the woman had passed. So couldn't find it. Joel, on his own, did research on the woman's name and found an obituary, a picture of an obituary or something that had to do with her obituary. And she was buried from True Bethel. Joel then calls me. I then look at the file and was able to put Joel in touch with the family, who at that time I think was eligible to receive like over $80,000.
Right.
$80,000 that they had no idea about. So I'm trying to get money into the hands of people who should have it, and trying to educate. So I'm going to try to spend a little time when I need to educating people about things that we're working on in Ellicott. And one of the biggest things, finally, and I'll move on, that we're working on is to get micro grants to block clubs who want to do, or nonprofits who are doing some type of beautification in Ellicott. So if you have a community garden, if you have like that corner lot and your sign is all beat up and you need a new sign, we'll help with that. You want to put flowers out, we'll help with that. You want to clean up or do a cleanup. You know, the snow is hopefully it doesn't return, but I'm not counting on it. But when you want to have a spring cleanup, we'll help buy the bags. We'll help get you brooms that you can keep, like some of these items, so that during the year you don't have to use your own broom. You'll have a brooms, because you got to have more than one, brooms, all those type of things that we want to make sure we're keeping Ellicott as clean as possible. But at some time, you know, I know people feel like, why can't the city do a better job? I want to tell you the truth. It probably is not a week, I won't say a day, a week that goes past that I don't drive past somebody else throwing crap out of their window. We would have to literally have a street sweeper every single day of the week.
Right.
At every street. because I watched it yesterday. I was so mad. You know that's my pet peeve.
It is.
I don't understand how grown people decide to open up your window. They threw a whole bag out. Whole bag. What if it is no longer than 5 years? Can you still claim it? Chugi, very good question. I asked the same question. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm doing the resolution is because I kind of got a foggy answer. So basically, the law department decides the timeline, and I'm not thrilled with that. There needs to be not a spoken policy. There needs to be a written policy. And it gets really complicated while that happens. But I'll basically tell you this. A few years ago, before when you lost your house to auction, the city would sell your house and then transfer the title into the new owner's name. Now the city takes ownership of the title. Then whoever is the new owner, it goes to their name. So the money is sitting in the city's account. I feel like this. The houses are some of the biggest investment that most people will make. And I don't want to see that money sitting in the city's account. And depending on who is the corporation counsel or the lawyer for the city, or who's in administration, decide whether it's going to be 5 years or 7 years. It needs to be whatever it is, and it needs to stay there, and that money needs to be available because it might take some families 4 to 5 years to figure out, oh, we got some money. But the more transparency we have, the better it is. Really, really good question. But I'm just not thrilled in how it is right now, and I've spoken that for years, but now we're doing something about it. Chugi says, because we don't know, why do I try? Why do I try to read without the glasses? Why? I don't know. And the Cobb gets interesting.
City of Buffalo.
Oh, all right, you go ahead and use that. Go ahead and use it, City of Buffalo. Carolyn Lane says, perhaps you can hire some teen boys to clean up. Carolyn, I definitely agree with you, but teen boys have to have a way to get there. They have to have I can't go from lot to lot. So that's why we definitely need a company, and we need a company that's insured and all that kind of stuff. We do have we have the option to ask for Mayor Summer Youth, young people. However, my office does not have the staff to be able to lead them out there every single week and the equipment. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And one of my staff members is getting ready to leave because she's having a baby. So I'm already short. But I really get you. Matter of fact, speaking of that, the church is doing that. But I have people here who can help for our sick and shut in and for our elderly who are not able, who are members who are not able to do it themselves. We wanted to help. Carolyn Lane says for the spider bite. She Ray Sean said this yesterday. Go to Facebook Marketplace for the spider bite. I think he did look for me yesterday, so I don't think we found anything in my price range, which is called cheap. I've got, I know I got you here, Janique. I'm gonna be right with you. So Nana, and you can chime in at any time. If you know anybody selling a spider, let me know. And I don't mean a little spider that's gonna bite you. I'm talking about a motorcycle, so I can get back on. I do have that endorsement on my license because I do ride. So Nana gets to lose her home and not get the monies. Exactly, and that's why I'm pushing this. Speaking of which, Mickey Kearns, the county clerk, is pushing right now. I meant to print. No, I can look here because I can't get on Facebook till I get off. Basically, Mickey Kearns is letting people know if your house is in foreclosure with a bank and they send you your notice, don't move.
Nope.
You don't move right away. A lot of people don't notice. It takes a long time, and that's unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know, for banks to foreclose. If you get a notice from a bank, now I'm not telling you don't move, stay in there and get your stuff hauled outside. You better call a lawyer. I don't know if he said that. But in most occasions, when you get a notice, and what he's afraid of, and what he showed me the other day, because he stopped by the auction, the telethon, and there's a map of areas that have foreclosures right now, and there's a high density in poor areas. So what he's trying to educate people on is, if you get a foreclosure notice, don't pack up and move that day. Yeah. You have time.
According to his article, more than 2,930 Erie County homeowners have received pre-foreclosure default notice from lenders in the past 6 months.
Yes. So this is a big deal. Now, you got to pay your bills. And I mean, at the end of the day, most banks will work with you because they really don't want your house. They just want their money.
They want that interest.
They want their money. They don't want to start the process all over again, and then you leave and take everything out of it before you walk out the door. That house still belongs to you and the bank, but you will be the one responsible if you move out and that house is not maintained until the bank takes ownership of that title, and that's a whole process. So I'm trying to educate you out there. Now, I'm not encouraging you. If you can pay your bill, pay your bills. Please. Pay your bills. Folks, this is a time, if you don't know it, credit is, listen, when I was growing up, credit was important, but it's not as important as it is now. You could get a gas bill in your name without credit. And then it started changing, and people started putting gas bills in their kids' name and messing up their credit.
Yep.
Putting all the stuff in kids' name. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't mess up your child's credit. So right now, and it's starting to happen in the city of Buffalo more and more, you can't even get an apartment without a credit check. Years ago, and I know when I owned rental property, wasn't nobody doing no credit check. I didn't know how to get a credit check on somebody. I ain't know. You just rent it. If they look like they wasn't gonna tear up your house, you just rent it. Now, landlords have become sophisticated that if you wouldn't pay your cricket bill, you probably not gonna pay me. Yep. And that old thing of, well, it was a roach in my house, and he wouldn't. There's a legal way you can withhold rent, and that does not mean spending it. You must put it in an account.
Right.
And I won't go into all the legal, but no, you cannot just say I'm withholding the rent and then get to court, because the first thing the judge is going to ask you, where is the rent money being held? And if you say the rent money was held at the bar, the rent money I get
is at the outlet.
Hennessy is holding on to the rent money. Johnny Walker holding on to the rent money.
Ooh,
I don't
Johnny.
know. I'm trying to think. It ain't gonna work. Jack Daniel holding on to the rent money. That judge is gonna give you 72 hours in most cases to go get you a U-Haul and get out, because you can't just do that. There's a whole legal process. And if you don't know it, in the day of internet now, folks, it's easy to get on. We look up everything else. I want to teach y'all something. My son told me something the other day. What did he tell me? That somebody told him on the internet? Oh, about, well, you know, Pop, if you leave a job too early, they could put you in jail. I said, what you talking about? He meant the military, but because kids didn't pass that lie down, he was all mixed up. I said, that's not true, son.
Right.
I said, that's not true. Stop reading internet, not going to viable sources. When I hear a rumor of they're saying this, I go to reliable, and Absolutely. They can lie too. But at least they're held to another level of accountability. ABC, NBC, CBS, all these people, they're not, even Yahoo News, you can do, they're not going to put out certain things that is going to ruin their reputation and cause them to be a tabloid.
Absolutely.
So start researching when you start talking this stuff about, well, I can just hold my rent. Now, I do want to say, it's in season, and I got to get to Janique. It's in season for Darius Pridgen to start going, and I didn't stop after Slumlords. I just had a company call me and say, I just wanted you to know we got the woman straight that I was on the news for recently, and they admitted that it slipped. The head guy said it slipped. He didn't know that it was going on. So some heads rolled. It is time for my top 10 slumlords in the city of Buffalo. And I'm going to tell you where my first one is that I'm going after. It's right on Michigan Avenue, next door to the church, Frank Bostic's church.
Pilgrim.
Right next door to Pilgrim. Yes. Mm-hmm. That house, you could tell, was built to kind of mirror Pilgrim. So it must have at one time been a parsonage or something. Shame on the people who own that property, who is a it is a wonderful structure. You got I won't mention no names. You got the folks on Genesee and Michigan who have that. No, I'm gonna mention the name. What's the name of that place? I want to say Harbor's House, but it's not. We met with
Harbor House.
Harbor House. That's why I ain't want to mess it up.
Yeah,
Harbor House around the corner that we have to constantly call because the folks who definitely need help. But if you're going to be a social service agency, you got to also take care of the neighborhood.
Right.
They're sleeping in the backyard. Frank has pictures of it. Reverend Bostic, Pastor Bostic has pictures of it. Somebody came out of the house and allegedly smashed the glass. But we do have the video of somebody smashing the glass.
Yep.
That's number one on my list for a slumlord sign this year. Number one on my list. It's in the African American Heritage Corridor. And you leave this mess sitting there. And so I want to hear from people of other properties in the Ellicott District, folks. And let me give another little teaching, because somebody going to call and say, well, you're the council president, so I'm calling you about this district. I am not an at-large member. The council president isn't the council president over the city. I'm the council president over the council. I am the Ellicott District council member. So and if you're not sure whether it's in Ellicott, just call us and we'll let you know. But man, I'm ready for this because this is ridiculous. I got so much. Janique, what you got today before I talk about public access? Kamal is on. You just stopped by to say hi? Just to say hello. All right, that's my man. If I ain't have Janique here, I get you right in that chair. But all right, you got it. Janique, I'm going to come to you, but I see Kamal on. Those of you who watch public access or educational access or government access, which is usually where you had a common council on the Board of Education or the public. We had Spectrum in front of us this week and gave them a spirited feeling of how we feel about those channels being in the 1300s and requested. One council member did a little bit more request, and I kind of brought it on home and requested.
You did.
And told them how important public access is to our people. Some cities don't use their public access. Buffalo does. When we're having an emergency, we can't take care, I'm talking about the government, can't go into 2, 4, and 7 and say we're seizing the channel. We want to put the mayor on throughout this disaster or the commissioners. We can with public access. We just had 2 years of our kids being out of school. Public educational access should have been utilized to help struggling children. They should still be, because our kids are still struggling whether you want to admit it or not. Big ups to interim superintendent Dr. Tanja Williams. Big ups to her. Big ups to her. I think she gets it. And the Common Council has gone on record with a resolution sponsored by Council Member Brian Bowman, who's the head of our education committee, saying we want somebody from Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Now, I said this the other week. I know they're going to do a search, more than likely. Maybe not. You can't tell with this board. But if you do a search, I think people in Buffalo want somebody who identify with Buffalo. Right, Janique?
Absolutely.
That knows our children, our way. Buffalo is unique. Mm-hmm. And you have some people come in and they think that we're somebody else and someplace else. And sometimes they come down looking down their nose at us, and sometimes not understanding the challenge. Janique, you're here. What you here for today?
So I'm here to talk about Buffalo Charter School Fair.
Okay.
But
Perfect segue.
I do too want to say congratulations to Dr. Tanja Williams. I was at the board meeting the other night, and
Did it go better than what it was going?
oh my, it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
She, she really was paying attention to the speakers. We only have 3 minutes
Right.
to speak, and everybody went a little bit over their time, but she was so considerate and so genuine in her response. The former superintendent had kind of gotten away from responding to each one of the speakers, except to say, thanks for coming in, or we'll get back to you. But with each speaker, she responded and talked to their issue and said how she was looking forward to working with them. And even some people who were a little bit ornery, she had a nice, cordial response for them as well.
Yeah, because, you can't blame her. She just got to the seat. Now, she was an employee of Buffalo Public Schools,
Yes.
but I want to be clear. She didn't have the power to make certain changes.
Right.
Because you can have position without power, as I always say.
Absolutely.
So what you got going on?
So we have a charter school fair coming up, and for those of you who are unaware, charter schools are public schools. I do want to emphasize that and say that again. We have our traditional public schools, which are under the auspice of the Buffalo Public Schools, but then we have charter schools, which are chartered by either the SUNY trustees or the Board of Regents, and
Or the Board of Education, right?
Or the Board of,
Yes,
right, or the
yes.
Board of Education. Actually, the Board of Education has 2 charter schools underneath their auspice right now, Westminster and Enterprise.
Yep.
And those are the 2 that are under the Board of Education. And we are hosting a charter school fair for parents to come out tomorrow. It is at the 3 Buffalo Girl Event Center.
Now, this is all of the charter schools?
It is, yes, about 18. We have 21 charter schools here in Buffalo, and we have about 18 to 20 charter schools that are participating in the charter school fair. And we want folks to come out and essentially to have an option and to be able to choose what they want for their children in terms of their education. We have a website. It's enrollbuffalocharters.org, and that is where you can apply to one school or all 18 schools at one time. At one time.
Is this? I thought we discussed this
Yes,
before.
this is the
How
second
did it?
year.
How did it work last year? Was it well?
Yes, it did. It did. This is the second year, and we're getting more and more applications, and we're really excited about parents and families who are making options and choices for their children and their education. So many things going on in education right now. So many different things that different families need. You have some children who go to traditional school,
Yeah.
some children who go to charter school, and whatever works for you and your family, we want to make sure that you have all the information available to you. So we encourage them to come out to meet the charter school leaders who are going to be there at the fair. We also have some great community partners. We have the Buffalo Museum of Science coming. Lots of great things happening at the Buffalo Museum of Science, and we're partnering with them. We're also partnering with EPIC for all those who have children who have special needs.
Yep.
They will be there. The CAO will be there. They run most of the pre-K programs
Yep.
here. So we're really excited. And then we also have G-Bon, who's going to be doing some COVID testing. We still are in COVID.
Yep. Yeah.
And so for those of you who want to be tested, they will have a mobile unit out there, and you'll be able to be tested. And we're just really excited to offer some options to folks who are interested in exploring all the opportunities that are available for them and their children.
So give us it's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. It is from 1:00 p.m. to 4:00 p.m. at 2464 Main Street. That's the 3 Buffalo Girls Event Center, a minority-owned, women-owned business.
Tell them what's across the street so they got some landmark.
It's kind of across the street from the Tri-Main building.
Yep.
And it's right near Dial Cleaners.
Yep.
Right on, and where the big beautiful butterfly is on the side of the building.
Okay.
That gray building on Main Street. It's right there, 2464 Main Street. We'll have some snacks. We have some snacks from Wegmans. We have sponsorship from Evans Banks, who's going to come in and talk about financial literacy, doing some education. So we have a great afternoon plan. Bring the kids. We have some activities.
1
for
to
them.
4. They don't have to be there from 1 to 4, but it's open from 1 to 4.
Open from 1 to 4. tour. They can come, they can tour, they can talk to all the school leaders who will be there. They can actually apply right there on site. We'll have computers on site.
Wow, that's cool.
Once they get ready to make a decision. And then the deadline is April 1st. We need everyone to apply by April 1st. And then on April 5th, there will be a lottery for the seats that are open, and you'll be able to make your
So it's a
choice.
one-stop shop. You don't have to go from school to school.
Right.
You can walk right in, talk directly to people
Yes.
from those charter schools, and get some free get some free
From free Wegmans on
Some
Saturday.
snacks from Wegmans
Yeah.
and get some financial literacy from Evans
I'm still
Bank.
stuck on the food, man. And listen, listen.
I'm hungry.
Times is hard. First of all, groceries expensive. I take my kids and everybody, grandma. Grandma need to be in
Go
on
get
this.
them snacks.
We be all just apply for all of them, Mabel.
Janique, there's a question from Facebook. Someone asked about the age groups for the school.
So, yeah, so all the schools will be there, K through 12, and every grade level is available. Go right on the site. And the interesting, the greatest thing I think about the website is that on the website, www.enrollbuffalocharters.org, there is information and reports from the New York State Education Department on every single school that's participating in this website. And the reason that's important is that we did not do it. We did not put this information together. This is information compiled from the New York State Education Department. So it's really important that for you to make an informed decision, you can look at the testing, you can look at the scores, you can look at the history of the school and everything that has happened, and it all comes straight from the New York State Education Department.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Janique. You're welcome to stay around. Kamal says we need to go back to common sense council districts and at-large representation. Totally agree. Now, remember, the majority of people voted to get rid of because they felt government was too big. And now those same advocates who were out saying government was too big, who was leading that charge,
Yes.
some cities or towns and villages are going back to where they were because they figured out, and especially without having one at-large person. I'm just going to tell y'all why an at-large person is important. Because if I am Ellicott District Council member, most times the council members vote with their colleagues on what they want in their districts, but that means one person can make the decision of whether you get property, whether your store opens, whether you get a dance hall license, whether blah, 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 blah. With the at-large, you had another person you could kind of meet with, and they had this bird's eye view of everything. Also, the Common Council president used to be voted in by the people in the city of Buffalo.
Yeah.
And that made him or her at large.
Right.
In which we've never had a female Common Council president yet. So when I look now, because all of the pictures have shifted over in the chambers of past presidents, because Rich Fontana's is up and it hasn't been unveiled yet. So from my desk on the floor and from my desk when I'm chair, I can see clearly George K. Arthur and Delmar Mitchell, like staring at me, like I feel like their eyes are moving when I move.
Yep.
And it's like you need to do the right thing, Darius. Do the right thing for our people. And so I know that at times put me at odds with different people, and I'm okay with that. I'm settled in that at the end of the day, it has to be about the people. So I agree.
We still have at-large members for the Buffalo Board of Education. And I think, like you said, it's really important. And,
Yes.
You know, people who served on the Board of Education, we know more than anything how, you know, when you work with your
Yes.
colleagues, it's important to have somebody else who has a different view.
Who has a different view, who people can go to. I do think that's important. Speaking of, now I got two things, politics and school. I'm just going to tell y'all this. I got a call. And this is why I'm glad that Dr. Williams is listening to people. I get this parent call me the other day, and I've been taking care of so many school board issues, and I'm not on the school board. I try to get them connected to the right people. And child in school, eighth grader, girl, gets into it with another girl. I don't know if they had a fight or argument. Next thing you know, 2 carloads of adults come to the school and get in the school The girl is in the principal's office. Allegedly. This is coming from mom, dad, and everybody else, and I did pass it on. The school board has responded. And beat up the little girl. And what I was told at that moment, no one had been arrested. And I lost it for that parent. Because I know the feeling, because I've had an adult run in to a school of one of my children within the last 4 years to threaten my child because she heard he said something about her niece. Got right in the door. So I know it's real. Mm-hmm. These are the things we need Dr. Williams, and what she's saying she'll concentrate on. Because I don't know the parents. I asked them why they called me. They said, somebody said, call him. He'll figure it out. I called superintendent's office. Superintendent's office went right away. We're calling her right now. Mm-hmm. This is why we need somebody like a Dr. Williams in, because that's ridiculous. Yeah. That these folks is getting out of control. And to me, when you an adult and you run into a school
to
confront a child, lock their Lord have mercy up.
But you know, the crazy thing is, and you and I have been in schools together.
Yes.
You know, I've been in schools together.
Yes.
How do you get past the main office? Like, I've been in schools and
a lot of main offices buzz you.
Right.
And they assume you're coming to the office. So there's nobody sitting at the door at many schools. Let me tell you, before I was elected to the school board, you didn't even know what door to go in.
Right.
I'm the one that had the signs put out every school that said you enter this door. So you didn't even know where. But all you got to do is buzz, go in, and if you know where that child is, you run in. But this child, allegedly, was in the principal's office.
That makes it even worse.
In the principal's office. And I don't know if in the physical office, but, in
Right.
that area. So it wasn't hard to find the child. I think lock their tail up. You going to fight a child? Lock them up.
And it's so interesting because I was at Canisius the other night for our MWBE class, and after a certain time, you can't even get into the doors at Canisius without a key fob. But you can walk into some of our schools if they buzz you in and just walk right past. I literally had to stand there and wait for somebody to come out, let me in.
But in a school,
it
you
should
just
be,
run in.
Yeah, the plan that she laid out the other night for safety and security was really detailed.
Yeah.
And really happy to see Chief Brian Patterson was there from the NFTA.
Congratulations to him.
Congratulations to him
Chief
too.
Patterson is one of the coolest
Isn't
guys
he?
in police. But he's
Isn't
now a
he?
former police officer. But I think if he probably arrested you, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got to do this."
Yeah.
He's that type of guy.
He
He
is.
didn't let all that go to his head.
No, we went to college together. He's fantastic.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of politics, ex-New York Governor Andrew Cuomo considers running against Kathy Hochul
Good old Andy.
despite opposition from his own party. Now, I need those of you on Facebook and YouTube, and maybe I can get a call in. Do I have the, yeah. I'm going to be doing a poll right now, and then I'll talk about it. If Andy Cuomo gets in the race against Kathy Hochul, this is an unscientific poll.
Our governor from Buffalo.
This is an unscientific poll. Janique's out there campaigning.
I'm not.
Who would you vote for right now? Who would you vote for? And I'm going to be clear, and this is not an endorsement from our sponsors or this radio station. This is Darius Pridgen. I'm endorsing Kathy Hochul, me. I'm endorsing somebody who knows Buffalo. Andrew Cuomo did a lot. He did. I'm not taking that away. He did a lot. But at the end of the day, you step down. She had to take over. So that's where I'm at. So that's where I'm at. So so weigh in for me, everybody. And if you want to call in, let me see. I better move fast.
I got it up on the screen.
You got it on the screen. 895-8222, extension 223. So a lot of twos. 895-222, extension 223. I'm not having a long conversation. I only want to know your answer. Hochul or Como. Here's the key points from the article. Former New York, and I'm reading from CNBC. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has been fielding calls from supporters about a possible campaign against his replacement and fellow Democrat, Governor Kathy Hochul. His aides have been conducting their own internal voter polling on a potential matchup. Cuomo's political committee started the new year with over 16 million on hand.
Yeah.
Hochul's campaign has over 20 million as of last public filing. Now, for those of you who don't know about the money, that 16 million, he can't just walk off to the sunset. He has to spend it in some type of political arena, just to simplify it. He can support other candidates, all that. And we talked about this last week. But she will outraise him right now because she's the sitting governor. And everybody wants to sit next to the sitting governor. And they will pay thousands of dollars to be at a fundraiser for a sitting governor. Giving money to Andrew Cuomo might be a lot different because now your name will be public and you have to decide whether you want to be identified in that race. What do you think?
Well, so the article I sent you last night put the governor in New York City in a room full of Latino pastors with a Latino council member who was a former assemblyman. Since then, I have seen polls, but one by Emerson College, that has the race at 37% Hochul, 33% Cuomo.
And for anybody who doesn't know, that's really razor thin.
That's really close.
Yeah.
There's another.
Who do you think the 33% are?
Well, here was the interesting thing. So at the conversation I was telling you about before the show, there was another quote, and I can't remember if they said it was Sienna or the one that begins with a Q. That's
Quinnipiac.
escaping. Which one?
Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac, yes. Majority of black voters are still supporting Cuomo.
Well, now I don't know whether some folk on here are black or not, but I will say, okay, I'm going to just read them. Kamal says, hopefully he learned some lessons. So that wasn't an answer, but of either one. But it also wasn't an indictment on Cuomo. Lakeisha says, no opinion now.
Yeah.
Which means she's still one of those voters that can be influenced one way or the other. Robin Worthy says, wow, this world is corrupted. It would not be Cuomo. Justine says, sorry, Janique, but since Governor Cuomo nor the AG didn't have Governor Hochul didn't have the courage to endorse the Democratic candidate India Walton, I would support their opponent. That truly, for me, was being a coward. Kamal says, if he runs, it will make Hochul
run a different race.
Yeah. But there's still two other opponents as well. There's Tom Suozzi, the congressman, as well as Jumaane Williams.
That's true.
I know Jumaane Williams. I only heard a little bit about Suozzi, so I don't know if he's known around New York City.
He's from New York City. He's from Long Island. He's a congressman, current sitting congressman. So yeah.
So he's popular in the city, but he ain't polling.
No.
His polling numbers.
Neither one of them are polling.
Neither
anywhere
one
close to it.
Are
I
polling.
think Suozzi maybe had 17%.
If it's
maybe?
that high.
Yeah. Yeah. He. No disrespect. He like a Wilson Farm running against Tops and Wegmans.
Oh, that's a good
No
one.
disrespect. But I mean, in the numbers. You know what I mean.
He's Bray Miller.
Wow, Chucky said, I'm with Uncle Drew. There are a lot of people who may not say it publicly, who like, I'm rocking with Cuomo. So he has these commercials out that I don't think are the best commercials in the world. I really think
Well,
that
the second one is the one you said you wanted out first.
Oh, I haven't seen the second
Yeah,
one.
so the second one is more about New York. We fought together to get the $15 an hour. We fought together to get paid family.
Oh,
leave.
he's
We fought
serious.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
do you think he can fundraise? Do you think?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Governor Kathy Hochul is going to be able to fundraise her hat off.
And so will he.
You think? Do you
absolutely.
think people will give up $1,000 checks and their name is going to be public, or he going to have to get a whole lot of 99.99s?
If his poll numbers keep it that tight, oh, absolutely.
Really? I am floored.
And you know, some people go to both teams.
Yeah. They'll drop that like $5,000 on each of them.
And see who shakes out.
Wow. I guess I mean I've been in this a while. I'm just not in it like that. You know, I think a lot of people don't realize I'm not very political. I like government. The political side is not my baby. I mean, some people they live for this for the races and all that. I mean, and live by it. They make their money on it.
Good money.
I'm the guy. I'll just tell you what I feel and go do the job. And when races are over, they're over for me. It is for me legislation, all those type. I love legislation. I love governance, but the politics part, I really don't know. Ms. Doyle, on another subject, says she mailed an autographed copy. I haven't received it of my new book to your office. Oh, this week. Okay, you know that snail mail is slow. Ms. Doyle, I'm no disrespect. I'm a former
I was going to
postal
say, your
worker.
former work.
But notice the word former. We got our first class mail in 3 days. I don't know nowadays. Sometimes it's still supposed to be 3 days, but 3 days. Okay, 3 days, 3 nights, and 3 more days or 3 nights sometimes. Anyway, I am floored of how much support after going through what he's gone through.
But I always, and I've been saying this a lot lately, Black people are very forgiving.
All the time.
And especially, because even when he was going through, you never heard like us have this big outcry. Because we look at the photos and be like, And we assumed, and then by the time he comes out, you don't have enough evidence to prosecute him anywhere in the state.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So do you think he shouldn't have stepped down then? Because he did not have to step down.
He didn't have to step down, but it's the same thing that happened when Elliot Spitzer stepped down. You know, it wasn't a big outcry from our community. They're like,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. You know, not everybody, but some people have paid for, certain things, and he was one of them. So
For those of you who don't know, Governor Spitzer, who I met, and he
we are
He
forgiving.
paid for attention.
Yeah.
He paid for attention, for
Activities.
female attention.
You pay for activities.
Yes. And he stepped down. Okay. Keep going. I'm listening.
So I mean, there have been a lot of people who have expressed the same sentiment that, I was at the hairdresser one day, and there were a bunch of seasoned ladies there, and they said, "Oh, he was a good governor. Oh, I would vote for him again. He shouldn't have stepped down."
Wow.
Oh, yes.
Now, I don't think the state Democratic Party would get behind him.
No, because
No.
they've already endorsed.
Right. Chucky says also just what you just said. He's an excellent emergency manager. New York State is always in some sort of crisis.
There is a crisis, and there's, there's a lot of things that are going on, and the governor has a tough race in front of her either way around, whether it's him or, the folks on the other side of the aisle who are, obviously making a big deal about, reform. That is the conversation. The lieutenant governor was here yesterday, and he was at Buff State talking about gun violence and reform,
Let me tell you what I want anybody to talk about. Governor, not anybody. I think the governor, and I'm just assigning the vice president this job. We haven't heard anything about education since No Child Left Behind. This is the truth. I got the gun violence. I got it. And I'm really grateful for the amount of support coming in and all of that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, you reduce gun violence by ensuring that children are properly educated so that they can live productive lives and don't have to depend on the criminal element. I don't hear nobody yet.
That's
I'm talking about with a real plan. I'm not talking about just let's throw some money and I'm going to increase education finances.
And I think you just nailed it. Gun control, managing gun violence, or stopping gun violence is just another buzzword for just like war on drugs.
Yes, but this is a problem in the war. And Naomi Suri, who is a former principal, says, yes, sir. First she said, yes, Sue. Yes, and maybe yes, Sue.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, you don't get the attention until to me, when we're talking about, I think, and again, I don't have the authority, obviously, but I think our vice president, who's a woman of color, don't just give her the job, make sure she has the resources, but there needs to be a comprehensive plan across the United States, but especially for poor cities and poor people.
And I'm going to also assign her student loan forgiveness. So, I mean, that's a big part of education, because a lot of people can't get from underneath that, and they're not able to, live their lives and build wealth for them and their families.
Absolutely.
So,
but the only thing about student loan forgiveness is that at least they got hopefully education. Hopefully they don't have it. But I'm so concerned, Janika, about and I know I got to go. Our kids that are falling through the cracks. I got it. I stand with Ukraine. Let me say that before I say my next statement. But the same crisis that Ukraine has, cities all over this country have the same thing. And the fact that people are dying on the streets, being literally bombed out of houses, not at the same level. And I stand with Ukraine. What I'm saying is, I'd like to see that same energy.
Absolutely.
That we do for other countries.
That bailout.
Be right here in our country, and that there be so much money that goes to a comprehensive plan for education. And it needs, and I know what some people are going to say, they just gave the school board all that money. Money does not mean change. And if it doesn't start at the top, it's hard to get it done at the bottom. Listen, folks, I got to get ready to go. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 2 locations to take care of you in your hour of need. And big ups to Jerry Livingston, who has passed on, one of the greatest musicians in the city of Buffalo history. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home, 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning. That's right, Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning. 874 East Delavan Avenue. Folks, get your clothes over there, get your sneakers over there, get your hats over there, get your shirts over there. But do me a favor, when you take them, pick them up. Pick them up, folks. Stop, don't drop off your clothes. And this is not from them. I'm just telling you, pick them up. When that thing is going around, you seen all them clothes and you didn't seen that pink suit 10 times, you know that, mother, pick up that suit. Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaner. Listen, folks, it's been a great show. Until next week, power to the people.